Welcome to Fight News Now. I'm John Pollock, along with John Ramdeen and Robin Black. Together we are the Fight Network Bloodline, and we are going to get set for a big weekend for the UFC in Atlanta this weekend, but also looking ahead to things, it's been, well, at least reported that they are going in the direction of Vitor Belfort, Gegard Mousasi for the yet-to-be-announced UFC 204 event for Manchester, England. That would be the same card as Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson. So a pair of interesting middleweight fights, and it's just funny the positioning that as much as this guy may tail off or suffer some losses, here is Vitor Belfort that will likely be on this pay-per-view card in a spotlight position, featuring a title fight no less, and if he gets a spectacular win here, we're right back into, hey, Vitor. Yeah. What an interesting fight this would be, a rematch with Michael Bisping or Dan Henderson.
100%, and it makes sense because, you know, what Vitor Belfort has done since he's come into mixed martial arts is he's garnered people's attention, whether it was the hardcore fans or the casual fans. It's based on these things, the way that Vitor Belfort looks, based on his aggression, based on the fact that he can knock you out with a kick to the head or a punch to the face. Vitor Belfort is just one of those guys that people want to see because of his spectacular nature.
Maybe we should have a flashing bug, though, a bit during that particular year of Vitor.
I'm with you. I understand. And I think that's part of the whole, I guess it's not the appeal, but the reason people tune in to Vitor Belfort is all the things I mentioned, and there's the controversy as well. So I think people know Vitor Belfort's name, and during a time where, you know, the stars of the UFC are shrinking, to see some of these old guards still popping their head up and still being relevant is good.
Vitor Belfort has a style that Gegard Mousasi has built his whole game around taxing and penalizing. You pay a aggression tax when you fight Gegard Mousasi. This is a perfect fight for him. Look how calm he is. It's that calmness, that ability to flow, that ability to move and make selective choices, to be able to flow freely between zones and between parts of the game and between attacks. And when you go forward, that was Dan Henderson blasting forward. That's what happens. He charges you an aggression tax, and Vitor is the perfect guy for Gegard to look good against.
So as you look at this in this fight of what the stakes are, I mean, Gegard Mousasi is coming off that win against Thiago Santos, but there are so many possible contenders at 185 pounds. And we could even be looking at a situation where this title is vacant if Dan Henderson wins, as he said he is going to retire. I mean, is this fight someone where the winner is automatically into that pool, or are they going to be taking a number behind your Rockholds and Weidmans at 185 pounds?
I think right now, in order for you to get your crack at the championship, you have to be able to sell fights. You have to beat a couple of big-name contenders. I consider Mousasi the X factor. I believe that he can defeat anybody that's ranked number one. I believe that he matches up very, very well with some potential champions. Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold says he wants to fight with Anderson Silva. You mentioned Romero, Jacare. Mousasi and Jacare have already battled a couple of times. But I think right now the middleweight mix is so talent-rich that you have to look good. It's not just going in and getting a victory. You have to get an impressive victory over a big name, and on top of that, you have to be a big star to be able to sell pay-per-views.
I agree with what you said, and my apologies, I'm not being a diva here, but I'm not going any further until you do your Mousasi impression. Yes,
it's not happening.
Have to do it.
I'm not good at it.
All you got to do is what Mousasi thinks of this fight with Vitor. You just got to do it, my friend.
I can't do it. 5 rounds today, I'll do it.
Okay, 5 rounds today.
What a tease for everybody out there. Last thing on the middleweight division, Yoel Romero is now reinstated, and he can be booked for a fight. What is likely for him next? Many could argue that, hey, this guy, because of this tainted supplement deal, he was in line for that title fight and lost it because of this tainted supplement. What do you do with Yoel Romero now? Because the middleweight division has made a radical change since he last fought.
Yeah, it depends on what the goal is. I mean, if you want Yoel Romero challenging for a title, I think
what's realistic? What do you expect for him?
I expect him to get another challenger. I expect that fight with Luke Rockhold and Anderson Silva to not happen. And I would imagine it would be Luke Rockhold and Yoel Romero, because the winner of that is a legitimate number one contender or number one contender-ish, and you could sell that the winner of that fight going on to face Michael Bisping, or the winner of Bisping and Dan Henderson. Again, there's just so many what ifs.
Have you lunatics even said the word Jacare
Yeah,
in this
well, I
whole
can,
conversation? Yeah. And Jacare's like, hey, wait a second, I thought I won that fight anyways.
Yeah,
Jacare thinks he should be the guy fighting for the title, and man, it's pretty hard to argue with him. Even that one, he lost it, but most people thought he had won it.
Yeah.
If you gotta sit around getting paid to fight, which is not the worst thing in the world if you enjoy fighting and that's your career, fight that one and go try to avenge that loss.
Later on in the show, we're going to hear both John and Robin's interview with Matt Brown, who is back in action this weekend looking to rebound from that tough loss to Damian Maia back in May. And he's drawing Jake Ellenberger, a guy who we say back against the wall. That's a cliche that's thrown out a lot, but this dude has lost 5 of his last 6. So this is, and he's flipped gyms again. He's working at King's MMA for this fight. But getting into Matt Brown's head, I mean, what was talking to him like and his mindset, because he was also with a new camp for this fight?
Yeah, we talked about how, Matt's been in this game for such a long time, and the evolution, and you're trying to figure out what things work and what things doesn't work. And Matt Brown, he says he's at a very good point right now. People recognize his durability and his mental strength, and he says these are all things, in order for you to be successful in mixed martial arts, they're all areas that you have to work on. It's self-exploration, self-betterment, and he seems to be the most confident that we've ever seen him.
You know what's interesting is people who are really authentic. And what does that mean? That means the good, the bad, it's all real. It's all very Matt Brown, warts and all. And Matt Brown's about as authentic a human being as you're going to come across. He understands who he is. And it was very interesting. We were asking him about that toughness. He's tougher and he's more rugged and he's more ferocious and visceral than most people. And he saw that as a benefit, but he also understands that it can be a detriment. It forces him into the fire sometimes. Fascinating guy, Matt Brown.
All right, stay tuned. That full interview is coming up later in the hour, and we are going to be back on Saturday night. Full 1-hour preview show for UFC 201, kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with the three of us, headlined by Robbie Lawler and Tyron Woodley for the welterweight championship.